Patreon has changed everything for content creators. There are regular people right now who are able to earn a full-time income by doing what they love, and not just a paycheck to scrape by, but 5, even 6 figures every single month. They don't have to rely on big advertisers, algorithms, or going viral. In this video, we're going to dive into how Patreon works, why it's so powerful, and how some of the most successful creators in the world have used it to completely change their lives. The first thing to understand is that Patreon isn't just another social media app or content site. It's something bigger. At its heart, Patreon is about connection. It allows creators to build a direct relationship with their most loyal fans, people who love what they do so much that they're willing to support them financially every single month. Here's how it works. If you're a fan of someone, a podcaster, a YouTuber, an artist, you can go to their Patreon page and sign up to pay a small monthly fee. In exchange, you get access to special perks like bonus content, early releases, or even private messages with the creator. It's essentially a subscription, but instead of just paying for content, you're supporting a person and their work. Since it launched in 2013, Patreon has become a game changer. Millions of fans around the world have used it to support over 250,000 creators. And some of these creators are making 6 figures every month, just from Patreon. No ads, no big sponsors, just people who love their work enough to pay for it. But here's the question: how do they do it? How do you take a platform like Patreon and turn it into a steady income stream, or even a fortune? That's what we're going to uncover today by looking at the stories of 3 creators who have mastered this system. Along the way, we'll break down exactly what they did, why it worked, and the lessons you can take away to start your own journey. Let's start with Chapo Trap House, one of the most talked about political podcasts out there. Their rise on Patreon is nothing short of incredible. At the moment, they're making almost $180,000 a month from their Patreon, 6 figures every month just from their fans. So how did they do it? The key was understanding their audience. Chapo Trap House isn't for everyone. Their takes are bold, raw, and sometimes controversial. They didn't try to appeal to the masses. Instead, they focused on a specific group of people who loved their no-holds-barred style. When they launched on Patreon, they didn't just post their regular episodes. They made Patreon the go-to place for their most passionate fans. For $5 a month, you could unlock bonus episodes, behind-the-scenes content, and a deeper connection to the podcast. It wasn't just about the content, it was about creating a space where their fans felt like insiders. And that's the first big lesson: niche down and know your audience. You don't need to appeal to everyone to succeed. In fact, trying to please everyone can actually lead to burnout and disappointment. Instead, focus on the people who already love what you do. Give them more of what they want, and they'll support you. Next, let's talk about True Crime Obsessed, another podcast that's absolutely crushing it on Patreon. If you're into true crime, you've probably noticed that most shows in the genre are pretty serious. They dive into the details of crimes with a heavy, somber tone. But True Crime Obsessed took a completely different approach. They made true crime fun. Their podcast mixes humor, commentary, and storytelling, making it feel more like a conversation with friends than a formal crime documentary. And that's what made them stand out. When they started their Patreon, they didn't just post random bonus content. They structured their perks in a way that made people want to join. Fans could get extra episodes, behind-the-scenes access, and even recordings of live shows. But what made it really work was their consistency. They didn't just promise these perks, they delivered them month after month. That's the second big takeaway. Consistency builds trust. If you want people to support you on Patreon, you need to show up for them. Whether it's weekly bonus episodes or monthly Q&A sessions, the key is to deliver on your promises. When your audience knows they can count on you, they'll keep coming back and they'll keep paying. Now let's look at Jenny Nicholson, a solo creator who's built an incredibly loyal fan base. Jenny is a YouTuber who creates long, rambling videos about pop culture, things like movies, TV shows, and theme parks. Her videos aren't flashy and they don't follow a strict format, but that's what makes them so special. Jenny's fans don't just watch her videos, they connect with her personality. They love her sense of humor, her honesty, and her unique perspective. And when she launched her Patreon, she leaned into those strengths. Jenny's Patreon isn't about fancy production value or over-the-top perks. Instead, it's about giving her fans more of what they already love: longer videos and exclusive commentary. She's proof that you don't need a huge team or a perfect setup to succeed. What matters is authenticity. And that's the third lesson. Be yourself. Your audience can tell when you're being genuine, and that's what they'll connect with. Don't try to copy someone else's style or create something that doesn't feel right for you. The best thing you can offer is your unique voice. By now, you might be wondering, how can you start your own Patreon? The first step is to figure out what your audience values most about your work. Is it your content, your personality, your ability to teach or inspire? Once you know that, think about what you can offer as exclusive perks. You don't need to go overboard. Start simple. Maybe it's a weekly bonus episode, early access to your content, or a private community where fans can connect with you. The key is to offer something that feels special, something they can't get anywhere else. From there, it's all about building slowly and staying consistent. You don't need to have thousands of fans to do well. In fact, some of the most successful creators on Patreon started with just a few dozen supporters. The goal isn't to go viral overnight, it's to build a steady, reliable income by focusing on the people who already believe in your work. And remember, Patreon isn't a set it and forget it platform. It's a relationship. The more you engage with your supporters, listen to their feedback, and deliver value, the stronger that relationship will become. So, whether you're a podcaster, a YouTuber, an artist, or anything in between, Patreon has the potential to change your life. It's not about chasing trends or trying to please everyone. It's about finding your people, connecting with them, and giving them a reason to support you. The creators we've talked about today are proof of what's possible. They didn't start with huge budgets or massive teams. They started with a passion, a clear vision, and the willingness to show up for their audience. And that's something you can do too. So if you've been thinking about launching your own Patreon, there's no better time to start. Figure out what makes you unique. Focus on the people who already love your work and give them a way to support you. Who knows? A year from now, you could be the next big success story we're talking about. Have you heard of or used Patreon before? What ideas do you have for using Patreon as part of your content creation business? Let me know in the comments and I'll get back to you ASAP with helpful advice. If you found this useful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this.